Great. I think it's 7, so we can start the session. So thank you guys again for joining. So we'll quickly start by watching a video.
हे दोस्तों, वेलकम टू अपना कम्युनिटी। ये वो जगह है जहां आप अपने असली पोटेंशियल को एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं। देखो, सबके पास स्किल्स होते हैं, पर क्या आपके अंदर वो स्पार्क है जो आपको कामयाबी की ऊंचाइयों तक ले जा सकता है? अगर आप सोच रहे हैं जॉब चेंज करने के लिए, लेकिन रेज्यूमे सेलेक्ट नहीं हो रहा, या फिर इंग्लिश में इंटरव्यू देना थोड़ा चैलेंजिंग लग रहा है, तो फिक्र मत कीजिए। यहां हम हैं आपके साथ, आपको सपोर्ट करने के लिए। अपना कम्युनिटी में आपको मिलेगी बेहतरीन कम्युनिटीज, जहां आप अपने प्रोफेशनल स्किल्स को सुधार सकते हैं। चाहे आप एक्सेल, टैली, जीएसटी में माहिर बनना चाहें, या फिर आप खुद एक ब्यूटिशियन या डिजाइनर हैं, तो यहां आप अपने काम को शोकेस करके दूसरों को टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स देते हुए आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। अपना कम्युनिटी में आपको मिलेगा मेंटर्स का एक खजाना और बड़े इन्फ्लुएंसर्स का साथ, जो आपको हर कदम पर 1-to-1 गाइड करेंगे। यहां आप ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं अपने फील्ड या इंडस्ट्री स्पेसिफिक ग्रुप्स, जहां आपको ऐसे कई लोग मिलेंगे जिनसे सीख के आप वो गलती ना करें जो वो कर चुके हैं। ऐसे लोगों की जिन्होंने स्टार्ट किया था एज एग्जीक्यूटिव्स एंड आर नाउ सक्सेसफुल मैनेजर्स इन देयर डोमेन्स, जो आपको आगे बढ़ाने में मदद करेगा। यहां आपको मिलेगा वो सही डायरेक्शन जो आपकी करियर को नेक्स्ट लेवल ले जाएगा। तो लेट्स अनलॉक योर पोटेंशियल टुगेदर। अपना कम्युनिटी में ज्वाइन करें और अपने सपनों की ऊंचाइयों तक पहुंचने का सफर शुरू करें।
Hey guys, so good evening. Thank you so much, everyone. आप सबका स्वागत है. Thank you for joining today. So let's start. So this is part of Apna Community Exclusives. We hold this webinar series every day at 7 p.m. on weekdays and between 3 to 5 p.m. on weekends. This is happening in association with QFIS. And we've covered variety of subjects like product management, cybersecurity, spoken English, interview prep, etc. So the main objective of these sessions is to get you exposed to different industry experts and learn from their journey and their experience. So today's session is about cloud and cyber security essential skills. So for this session, we have Yuvraj with us. Quick introduction about Yuvraj. He's a senior cloud security professional at Roche with extensive experience in designing secure, scalable AWS infrastructures. He has a proven track record in cybersecurity, risk management, and cost optimization for global enterprise clients. He has several years of experience as a mentor as well. We're glad to have him with us today. Thank you so much, Yuvraj, for joining us. Before I hand it over to Yuvraj, guys, if you have any queries, any questions, please feel free to drop it on the chat box. अगर आपका कोई भी सवाल कभी भी हो, आप चैट बॉक्स का इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। अगर आप अपने फोन से लॉग इन कर रहे हैं तो इन कॉल मैसेजेस वाले ऑप्शन पे जाइए, वहां पे आपको चैट बॉक्स दिखाई देगा। इफ यू आर लॉगिंग इन फ्रॉम योर फोन, please go to the in-call messages option. You can see the chat box there. We'll also allow you to unmute yourselves when the Q&A is going on so that you can ask the questions directly. समय समय पर जब सवालों को जवाब दिया जा रहा है तो आपको अनम्यूट करने का भी मौका दिया जाएगा ताकि आप सवाल डायरेक्टली मेंटर से पूछ सकते हैं. So without further ado, Yuvraj, I hand it over to you.
Thank you, Siddharth. Yeah, let me share my screen. Let me know once it's visible. Is my screen visible, Siddharth?
Yeah.
Good evening, guys. So my name is Yuvraj. So I'll be here doing a session on the cloud and cybersecurity, whatever happening in the industry. So let's begin. So as Siddharth said, I have already introduced myself. So again, I just want to give you the overview, the industry I'm working in, what experience I bring to the table. So hello all, myself Yuvraj Kandekar. I have around 10 years of experience in the field of cloud, DevOps, DevSecOps, then into automation. Now currently I'm working as a senior cloud security expert in Roche. So again, today I'm excited to share the insight into the world of information technology careers with a special focus on cybersecurity, a field that has become more critical than ever in our digital age. Whether you are just starting your journey to looking into advance your career, I hope to provide you the valuable knowledge and inspiration to navigate this dynamic industry. So let's begin with the current industry trends, what exactly happening today around the world. So right now, the rapid adoption of cloud services across industry is increasing. Companies are moving their operations to the cloud to gain the flexibility, scalability, and cost efficiency. So this trend is driving the opportunity for careers in cloud engineering, DevOps, and cloud security. Then also there is a huge amount of increase in data collection by the industry. Then what to do with that data, right? They want to understand the business requirement for clients, norm, and everything. So for that, there is also a demand in AI into the business, machine learning to analyze the data and get data, meaningful insights from that data. So that is also having the opportunity for the AI and machine learning. Same, the AI and tech skills shortage causing 85 million unfilled jobs. So there are lot many opportunities across the globe, but there are very few people who know how that job. Again, in the field of cybersecurity, uh, the alarming rise in the ransomware and other cyber attacks underscore the urgent need for the cybersecurity experts. As the industry is growing, there is also a demand in the field of securing the data, managing the huge amount of data from the attackers, from the people who targets the specific industry to just to gain the critical and the sensitive data of their customers. So this was all about the trends, what exactly happening in the world. Just to related to this only, we are going to go much deeper. But before that, first let's see who can answer this. Do any one of you know how the internet works? So when you type google.com on your browser, on your laptop browser, or on your mobile browser, what exactly happens behind the scenes? Any idea? I want to have this conversation two-way, not just I'm speaking continuously. I want people, audience to involve in this conversation and in the session. So that's how I will know what people know and what I need to take. Just a basic question, how the internet works. I will wait for 10 seconds. Okay. So let me tell you what exactly happens. So when you type google.com on your mobiles or your laptop browser, so it searches for the IP. Okay, it goes to a DNS. DNS is like your phone book you have your mobile. Why you use phone book? Just to know the person's number, because you cannot remember the numbers of 500 or 1000 people. You have a phone book where you have linked a name to your phone number, right? The same way in the IT, there is a DNS server which keeps the record for the domain name and link the IP address for the domain. So whenever you type google.com on your browser, it goes to a DNS, it searches for the IP address, and that IP address is hit by your browser, and you get the web page. Okay, so this is how the flow of internet works: web request and response. Yeah. So let's move to the next step. So this was about the how the internet works. But do you know how a software or the how the applications are built? Any idea? Any basic information? Okay, fine. So let's take an example of any e-commerce site. Okay, suppose there is a customer who was till the dates was selling his food offline through the retail store or through the shop. Now he wants to bring that business online. What he can do? The first option is to create a website where he will showcase the uh, goods or the whatever the varieties of item he sells, and he will publish to the internet. So the people will on the internet will go to that website, order the goods from that website, and the goods will deliver to their homestays, right? So how exactly this website or the applications are? Okay. So first step is requirement gathering. What is requirement gathering? In requirement gathering, the software developer or the company will gather the information about what exactly the customer or the client want. Okay, so they create a list of requirements. Okay, they discuss internally what will go, what will be set up, what infrastructure he will need, and what skill he wants to deliver on this website. So this all happens in the requirement gathering phase. Next, when the requirements are gathered, the common or the minimal viable requirement or the minimum viable website, whichever is required, the requirements are shared with the customer. Okay, and on the basis of those requirements, website is developed, a code is developed. In code, you have the front end, a UI, whatever you see in front of the user, a website, whatever the feature, it's a UI. Then there's other thing which is backend, where exactly the business logic is written. Okay, so these both the things are done in the website development phase, UI and the backend. Then after creating a minimal website, it is given for the website testing to the software testers. Okay, so what they do, they find out the bugs in the website. Suppose, for example, login button is working properly or not. Whether the user is able to order the product properly or not. Okay, then other things like the delivery information, product information, product pictures are getting rendered on website UI properly or not. So these things are tested in the website testing. So once this testing phase is done, they give go ahead for the production deployment. So when you say production deployment, it means the website is published to use for the public. Okay. So before also while this process happen, there is a security guy who take cares of all the development or the code happening for that website. He checks for the all the best practices are followed or not for that website from the security perspective mainly. Focus on the security. Then also wherever this website is hosted, the server is secured properly or not with the best security practices as per the industry standards. So this is the job of the cybersecurity person and the compliance person. Then once everything is done, your website code is handed over to the server administrator, who actually deploys that code onto the server, and it is published to the user. So it's a part of the website hosting group or the department or the team, we can say, who takes care of administrating, installing the required softwares, administrating the server, maintaining the server. So all these things are taken care by your web website, or you can say a system administrator. So next, once everything is done, and the final thing is like your website is launched to use to the public, and this is how the website is published, and a user from anywhere from the globe can access this website. The same way I explained how we can. You just type abc.com and it is redirected to the server where actually the code was deployed. Any questions till now? Yeah.
Yeah, Yuvraj.
Mhm.
Hi, my name is Irfan. Actually, I have one question. You just explain about the virtual server administrator, right?
Mhm.
Na? Yeah, how to deploy server and how to deploy the website also.
Mhm.
Actually, I have experience with this website and that is the cloud administrator work experience.
Mhm.
And last 3 years back, I working with Azure.
Okay.
So I know about the how to you do explain ना, I know about the everything. So just I
Mhm.
know ये, जो आप ये explain कर रहे हो, this is only for the classes, online classes for the training, या just like a कुछ job requirement, that's why.
So you mean what is the motto of delivering this session?
Yes, yes, yes. Just
Okay. So can you please go on? Yeah. Okay. So motto behind giving this session is to give the overview to the people who are pursuing the engineering, who are fresher, and the students who don't have any idea where they should target or in which direction they should go. Okay. So for that thing only, I have mentioned over there what happens behind the scene. So there are different teams who works for building the website, right from requirement gathering, development. Then we have the testers. Then we have the cybersecurity and the website hosting. So just to give you idea, a basic idea of what exactly happens behind the scene in the
yeah.
industry.
Okay, okay, okay.
I
Thank
hope
you.
that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah. So this is how the overall application or a website development process works till the production. Okay. So when I say production, it means live to the public. It's live on internet on the public. Okay. So moving on to the next slide. I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So moving on to the next slide, I just want to give the overview of the technology, what has happened in the history and what is happening right now and what will be happening in the near future. So in the decade of the 2000, there was the adoption of the World Wide Web. So web was recently launched. Everything was new for the people. Amazon was built to sell the books. It was in the very early stage for the Amazon eBay and for the people also, as there was no internet facility was available at the world, but for the limited sets of people. Then the development of the enterprise softwares like Tally and other ERP and CRM systems. So this was the beginning of these softwares. And what that requirement had been the opportunity, like the web development, IT consulting roles, new careers in the digital marketing, e-commerce management, and everything. So let's move on to the next decade, 2000, to 2010, where the broadband and Wi-Fi was introduced to the public, and there was a rise in the social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter. Also, the mobile industry, we have seen the a very huge growth in the smartphone, and the Android was launched at that time, Android and iOS. So what that had bring the opportunity, it bring the opportunity like mobile app development, then the IT security, also into the networking part like network engineers, security engineers, and also the digital communication and social media management. Next, in 2020, there was a widespread adoption of the cloud computing. Uh, AWS was the first player to bring the cloud computing the public. Then the growth of big data analytics. So as the internet users grown, data of the people also grow, right? Everything has become digitized and data was piling up, right? So also there was development into the IT and the implementing IoT devices like Alexa, IoT fridge, refrigerator, washing machines, and other devices for home appliances. So what opportunities it has created? New roles in cloud architecture, DevOps, data science, also into the cyber security, IoT engineers, embedded engineering, and everything. Next, in the decade of 2020 to 2030, AI and machine learning the fields are rising. You are able to see the AI and machine learning in your day-to-day applications, like in your smartphones, applications like ChatGPT, Gemini. Then for the development software developer, it's Copilot. So these things are happening right now, and also the advancements has been seen into the quantum engineering, quantum computing, and also the emergence of 5G technology. So it means connectivity among the people is increasing. It is the speed is very high. So it's a phase of development of the lot many latest application which are highly integrated with each other, like uh, like the EVs, connected cars. So this type of technologies. So what opportunity that brings? AI specialist, machine learning engineers, cloud security experts. Also, there is a rise in the demand of quantum computing and automation technologies. So, can you name this building? Anyone? It's not actually a building. It's a bare metal hardware which was used traditionally before the emergence of cloud. Still, it is used in some of the financial institutes where it is required to have data on the in their on-premises setup only. So before cloud, industries or the companies have to get these boxes into their offices, or have to set up this into the data centers where their actual website was hosted. As I told in the earlier slide, that what web hosting is, you take the code, you put it onto the servers, and you make this live to the public internet. So these are the rack where the servers are kept, and these are exposed to the internet. One of the transformation which has started from 20 decades is the now, these organizations are moving from traditional server setups to the cloud. Okay, and this is also bringing the new opportunities in the market, like the cloud architects, cloud engineers, cloud security experts, also the cloud developers who are capable of developing the cloud native applications. Okay. So let's move on to the key skills and solutions which are required for the successful IT career. Okay. So first, let's start with the core technical skills which are required. So, so as I explained in the software development phases, uh, there we have a core developer. So in any field or in any domain, a developer is required. Let's take example of e-commerce website. A developer is required to create a website or the application, also the backend for the same. Let's take the example of the pharma field, where developers are required to create the softwares which can find the chemical composition required to create a medicine, or create a simulation software which will get the input from the scientist and simulate it and can create a composition for that software. Then into the fields like big data and analytics, where you are required to uh, uh, do some calculations or do some filtering, or having implementing some business logic on the use data. There also you should have a development skills. So as per the domains and as per the field, the technology will change, uh, but uh, but the logic will be same, like the coding or logic will be same. So let's take an example of our e-commerce site only. So for example, if you want to develop an e-commerce site, what skill set you need? You should have knowledge about the UI part, which has Angular, uh, JS, which is required for the UI. Then for the backend, you should have knowledge of Node.js, Python, Java, JavaScript, C++ to build the backend. Then once your software is developed, then there is a requirement for the testing the software. Then what skill sets are required for testing software? A person should have a basic knowledge about uh, how the code works. Any code, it can be a Java, Python, or C++. A basic understanding. Then a person should have a knowledge about the requirements that has been shared with the customer and what he wants, and accordingly he can check whether that software is working or not. So also in the software testing, there is a demand for automation, where different frameworks are coming up like Selenium, JMeter, and all those things. So there also development is also required. We cannot say that in the software testing, coding knowledge is not required. So right now, manual testing is done very rarely. I will say 10 to 20% only, but 80 to 70% of things are focused on automation, because time to market is very limited. So you have to publish your product very uh, need to publish it very soon. So that is the requirement of the current market. Then once the testing and everything is done, the next part is setting up the infrastructure. So suppose let's say you have a e-commerce site uh, where the users are hitting from 1,000 to 2,000. How you will set up the website, how it will get scaled. So for that, you should have the network engineers as well as the cloud architects who will actually create a server setup and a networking setup, which will be capable of handling all these thousands of requests coming from the end users. So for that, what is the requirement? A person should have a basic knowledge of networking, how things work, how to set up a basic network, which includes operating system knowledge, subnetting, route tables, and all those things from the networking side. From the cloud side, so again there are multiple vendors out there, and organization prefer a single vendor, some organization prefer multiple vendors. So when I say vendors, cloud vendors, in market right now we have AWS, Amazon Web Services, then there is Azure, and then there is Google Cloud. So these are the top three players in the cloud platforms. Then this was about the cloud. Then once you have selected the cloud, now you have to set up the server. So now for setting a server, a person should have knowledge about the Linux and Windows operating system, uh, mainly from the server setup side. Then also a basic networking part, how to connect to the internet, how to install the softwares, how to do the basic administration. So that all the part comes under the network and cloud. So once all the setup is done, your website is ready to publish, but you don't know whether your setup is secured or not. Will anyone will do any DDoS attack, or any attacker is capable of entering into your system? So for that, you need a security expert who has knowledge about everything like operating system, coding, your infrastructure, networking. So this security expert and go through the overall setup of your infrastructure and suggest you the changes, and accordingly you do the changes and your infrastructure is secure. So now, as I have told that I have mainly worked into the cloud and cybersecurity industry. So I will focus on to those two parts. Okay. Uh, Moving on. So I started as a junior cloud engineer in 2015, where that time I had the knowledge of Linux systems, Linux server. And luckily, I got a chance to work with the emerging technology, which was AWS Cloud. I worked with the startup at that time. So the main advantage of working into a startup is like you get to do all the things by one person, compared to the MNC where you have very limited set of responsibility. So I will suggest most of the people, if you get a chance to work at startup at your initial level, it is very good opportunity, because you got to know about the man out about the industry, and as well as about the clients or the customers. So, what are the opportunities into the cloud DevOps? So, before moving to the opportunities, I will explain about what are the basic things are required to get into these roles, cloud and DevOps. The first thing is that you have to understand basic about the hardware, networking, databases, and also about the operating systems. Because once you are into the cloud team, your day-to-day task is to set up the server, connect to the server, also do the installations on the server. Okay, so this is the basic need which is required from the cloud engineering perspective. Then in the cloud, the next step what you can take is get into the DevOps, where whatever things you have done manually while setting up the cloud infrastructure, you can automate and you can create into a single file, and that just single file is run and your cloud infrastructure is set up. So that part come under the DevOps. Okay, I will just give you one idea, one example. So as we see in our software development phase, how the software is created, what are the phases are involved. Okay, so if you do all these things manually, it will take around 1 or 2 weeks. Just a general hypothetical example. But if you automate all these things, it will just take 1 or 2 days or just an hour to set up all these things. So these things comes under the DevOps part, where you are responsible to understand the current manual working of any pipeline or any structure and automate that thing. And yeah, that's it. Then what you can do to get into the cloud and DevOps? Right now, there are the certifications involved, like AWS Certified Solution Architect, Azure Solution, AZ 900, and full certification. While doing the certification, you get an idea about basic understanding of the services, which services is responsible for which use case. And this is how then you can link together and you can create a cloud infrastructure. Also, there is a what is the future in the cloud and DevOps? It's an automation, obviously. Then second, serverless, where you don't have to manage anything. You just have to do the input and everything set up on behalf of you. Then zero downtime in production. So if you know, we get a messages from the banks on weekends that there is some maintenance is going on, right? And at that time, your services are unavailable. Like you cannot send money to the other person, or you cannot do any transaction online. So what is that? It's a downtime where your production systems are taken down for some maintenance work. So the future is about doing all these things without a downtime. So this kind of architectures you have opportunities to work on. Then the observability stacks, where you can build a mounting system where you will get an idea forefront before that incident happens. So it will also helps to create a zero downtime architecture. So that was about the cloud and DevOps. So next, let's move on to the cybersecurity. So in the cybersecurity, as I told, a person should have knowledge about all things. But in the MNCs, what I have seen, there are a particular person is responsible for one thing. Like for example, SOC engineers. So what SOC engineers do? They keep an eye on the alerts set onto the infrastructure. Suppose let's say there was an unauthorized login was done from some person. So immediately he will get the alert and he will notify the responsible people in the team. So that is the job of SOC engineers. Then there are Splunk developers who are responsible for setting up the alerts for the notification. Like I told that if there is any unauthorized login, the person will get the alert. The same way, there are not many incidents happens in the industry. So this to notify the responsible team member, a Scrum developer creates the query onto the data, and once that is matched, it will trigger the notification. Okay. Then there is a threat intelligence team. What is the job of threat intelligence team? Uh, they are like the intelligence bureau which we have for our country. They just get the intel, or they just inform the respective. So, for example, there is a big industry, and someone is planning to attack that industry. So, what threat intelligence people do? They just gather the intel and inform the organization technical team, and accordingly they set up the infrastructure behind the scenes. Then we have a security analysis, where there are two types of security analysts who are mainly uh, works on finding the bugs into the code. Then the other is into the infrastructure, whether the infrastructure is set up properly or not, and whether the coding is done as per the standards and as per the best practices. Then there is opportunity for the vulnerability assessment, where a person is responsible for finding the security bugs into the application. So it can be from the website side, or it can be from the hardware side. So it's a job of the VA to find out the bugs. Then in the advancement of the vulnerability assessment, there's also a field called penetration testing, where they further dig down into the application. They try to find out the critical information in the system and how any attacker can attack the system. The simulation is done by the penetration tester. The report is created by the tester and it is shared with the developer. So this is how your code works, and you have to do this changes. So it's a job of PT. Then comes the forensics, where once the attack has happened and nobody know how it happened. So there comes the forensic team, which go through the all the logs, the time it happened, what tools were used, how the attack happened, how the incident all happened. So all this analysis is done by forensics team. Then there are also the other opportunities like auditors, domain-specific engineers. So what is the part of the auditor? Auditors have the checklist of the best security practices, where they check whether the infrastructure is set up properly or not. It is publicly exposed. The security scans are done. So they have the multiple checklists, and they just compare the checklist with the current infrastructure. If they find something non-compliant, they report it and they get it solved. So it's a part of auditors in the cybersecurity. Uh, Also, there's a huge demand for the domain-specific engineers, security engineers, like a security engineer who has worked into the pharma industry. Also, the engineer who has worked into the financial industry, like banking sector, insurance sector, and also a security engineer who has worked with the generic field, like advertisement, media, etc. So this was all about the technical opportunities that are present in the market. But what if you are very technically strong and you are not able to speak? What is the use of that, right? So for that, you should also have the soft skills and the aspiration for the professional development, right? So the first thing is that that's fine. Your problem solving, everything is fine. But what you are a lead of 4 to 5 team members, and there is a conflict between your team members. Whether you will be able to deliver good quality software? No, right? So for that, you should be first thing, you should be problem solving. You should be time to time communicating with the team. Also, you should be a team culture within a team, a collaborative culture. So that's it's a part of soft skill in the industry. Then also, I will give you one example that you created a work like I mentioned in the software, but you don't know how to market the product. Then what is the use of that invention, right? At least you should know how to speak, how to deliver the speeches, how to talk with the clients, how to get the requirements. As I told, the first phase of the software is to gather the requirement from the client and customer, and that's how you will begin to develop the software for it. Right? Uh, then then the next point comes about the project management, where here you have an opportunity to work as a project management. Uh, uh, Here you don't need the actual technical knowledge. At least you should have an idea about what technology it is and how it can be fitted somewhere into the product. Then the subfields are like agile and scrum, where it's actually a development process, phases involving it, how to deliver a quality software in very less time. Then the networking, to have these sessions with the industrial people, attend the conferences, joining the meetups, where you get the idea of what exactly happening in the industry. uh, then online sessions like what I'm doing right now. It's a part of the third point. So this all comes under the soft skills and the professional. Next, if you are very good into the analytics and mathematics, then you can also have the opportunities in the emerging technologies like AI and the machine learning. For example, right now, recently, a very nice invention was done by Apple. It's Apple Go, where you can see and where you don't need actual computer. You just have to put on the VR onto your head and just look into the VR, and you have the whole computer screen over you in the eye, in front of your eyes. So where this type of technology is used. So for example, a person sitting in US, and there is an industry on film industry in India, where the technology is purchased from US, but there is a restriction that a US person cannot travel at that time, and there is a emergency. So in that case, a person in India can wear that VR glasses and just see onto that panel or onto that machine, and the person will guide from the US. You have to press that button. You have to do this thing. Otherwise, we can solve the problem sitting remotely. So this is the one example for the augmented reality solving problems. Then the second thing is that I hope everyone knows about the ChatGPT and have used it. But it's like a generic, like it's like a Google. But what if you create a ChatGPT specific to the pharma industry, or ChatGPT specific to the insurance industry, or a ChatGPT specific to the banking industry, where you will get only answers related to that branch. So that opportunities are coming up, and also quantum computing is very evolving phase, I would say. Right now, they don't have much public exposure for the quantum. Next, blockchain and cryptography. So many industries have started adopting this technology, where they want to keep their data safe and away from the privacy. So it's like the main advantage of blockchain is that it does not copy or duplicate the data. The data integrity is a very important feature of the blockchain, where your data will never get modified, because the copies of your data are stored into the multiple blocks. So if anyone tries to change one block, it will get again reverted back to the original data, because it is not changed onto the all the blocks. So this was about the blockchain and cryptography, and I think this is the end of the presentation. So you can ask me questions. Thank you.
Great.
Hello.
Yeah, go
Uh,
on.
Hello, sir. My name is Manthan Pandit,
Yeah.
and I'm from Pune.
Yeah.
So I am pursuing my MCA
Mhm.
and completed CH also and CCNA also.
Okay.
So I want career guidance. So what next now?
Okay. So it seems you have interest in security, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So what you can do, you should target getting into the software, which is a security operations centers. So as I told, it's a level one stage where you will get to know what type of alerts you get, and on the basis of that, you can get into the same field.
Yes, sir. And if I want to make career in VAPT, just like you said that vulnerability assessment and penetration testing.
Mhm.
So what path I will follow?
Okay, so if you want to get into VBD, so there are lot of I will say programs are happening like Bug Hacker One, where they give you the environment. Okay, and in that environment you can try. They also have their own documentation. Following that documentation, also you can start into the penetration testing.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else, if you have any questions, you can ask me. I'll just read a couple of them from the chat for you, Raj. There's one student of EC.
Mhm.
Uh, he wants to start a career in cybersecurity. He was just asking right direction and the right steps.
Okay. If you want to start into cybersecurity, I will say get your basics done first. You should know about the what are the operating system, how they work. Second thing, you should know about the basic network. Also, you should know about the databases. So mainly, whatever the things involved in the typical architecture, at least you should have a basic knowledge about it. Okay, then try to work on setting up the things like try to set up 2-tier architecture, try to set up 3-tier architecture. Then try to understand the flow, how the requests are coming up into your infrastructure, how it is responding, what is this it is responding, right? Then try to find out what things are exposed to the public. When I say public, it's the internet, right? Whether it is behind the web application firewall, whether you have a detail for it or not. So basic things you can try understanding. Then, as I said, there are lot many courses available in the market, and as per your interest, you can choose one of them and move forward.
Great. Anyone else, any questions? You can also use the chat box or you can input. Well, please don't forget to fill the feedback form. It will really help us. So there's one more question. It's a little vague. It's just written, what is there any age limit? So I'm assuming maybe for starting a career in cybersecurity or for pursuing something like this, shifting. Do you think there is some age constraints?
No, I don't think so. There is no age limit because I have seen hackers who are just 10 years old also.
How about on the other end, like, do you think like very senior or something like that?
No, until unless you have interest in the field, there's no right. Because
Is
industry needs the skilled people, whether he is 10 years old or so. Legally, if you want to work in the industry in India, age should be more than 18 years. But if you are individual doing a freelancing, I don't think so. There is an age limit is required.
yeah, I think that applies to almost all the
Correct.
industries. So there's another question. Are there any internship opportunities in Pune about cybersecurity? Like, I think if we can just generalize, how can people approach for internship opportunities? Where can they apply?
I have seen audible, right?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, yeah. So I have seen in Mumbai, Pune, and Bangalore many cybersecurity startups are evolving. Okay, And I can also see the internship opportunities with that. So I would say list down the well-known startups who are doing very good in the field of services. Try to get in contact with the HR or the responsible person, and try to find out whether is there any opportunity for you. Or you can also enroll onto the sites. I think in Chala, I have heard where many startups recruit from the interns.
Okay.
And also recently, yesterday only, I went to a meetup where people come from different industry, different startup. You can communicate with them, understand what exactly the industry, or is there any opportunity for them that can also help.
Is there any like beginner level courses, like free courses or YouTube channels that you recommend, which is useful?
So one specific, I cannot say, but what I will suggest, you check. So lot many videos are there already on the YouTube regarding the AWS cloud, operating systems like Linux, Windows Server administration, Linux administration, also
Okay.
onto the basic network part. Uh, so I cannot say one specific one, but you can go to the videos which are available.
Sure, sure. Manthan, go ahead. You're raising your hand. If you have any question.
Yes, sir. Can you suggest any resources about the system design if I want to learn the system design
Mhm.
fundamental or anything?
So one popular I know is Byte Group. They have some of their free contents available, and some of them is paid. But for initial level, you can go through their websites. You can go through their YouTube videos, where you can get an idea about the system designs.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Guys, any other questions? We'll just wait for a minute. If there are no questions, we'll conclude the session. And while over here, please do fill the feedback form. It will really help us to provide feedback for the learners, for the organizing team, to help us plan the sessions or execute it as per what the requirement is. So please do fill the feedback form before leaving. Cool, Yuvraj. I think there are no further questions. So just any concluding note or any thing, any point you want the learners to remember?
Uh, so I will say find out the interest. As I already told, what are the phases or what are the fields available in the industry. Just don't try to rush yourself into the one field only. Like people who don't want to do the coding, but they still want to go into that. So it will not create a long-term goal into the industry. If your goal is understanding the technology, you can go into the requirement gathering team also, where people like business analysis do all the communication between the client and the development of the technical team. So this was just one example. Then there are also the people who are interested in cybersecurity, like Manthan is there. He wants to go into the software. Then he should more focus on to the what are the requirements or what are the opportunities present for security concepts. So find out the interest where what interests you and get into that field. Because same thing has happened to me. Initially, I didn't know about the industry. I did the coding and all those things that time, crash course type. And I went to one of the startup, and second day he told me to design a website like Flipkart. It was just the first day of my, and that time I was very new to the technology. I tried whatever possible from my side, but I was removed from that country. And then I found out there is an industry called Linux and Unix, and I went to it. And luckily, I got into cloud. Until now, I'm happily enjoying the learning. Also, keep trying the new things. You don't know what will industry or hopefully make you happy.
Yeah. I think that's a great concluding note. With that, we have come to the end of today's session. Thank you so much, Yuvraj, for joining us today and for sharing your expertise with us. I believe everyone might have found this session useful, not only people who attended live, but people who check the recording later. I think they'll definitely find it useful and apply it in their daily lives. Thank you everyone else for joining in and making this a successful session. A final reminder, guys, before you leave, please do fill the feedback form. It'll really help us. It will really help us plan this session and also give feedbacks to the mentors. For upcoming sessions, you can visit the Apna site where you have the exclusives tab. You can go there. You can register yourself for the events. If you're in the community, Apna community, you will see a lot of posts coming up. You can comment interested there and also register over there. As mentioned earlier, we are having these sessions every day. Tomorrow the next one is at 7 p.m. So we hope to see you all there. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Good night. Thank you, Viraj.
Thank you.